Well, actually, this is just part 2 of the 5-minute program that I was going to do last week. So, anyway, we'll get it done, and you won't have to hear from Brother Trevor on AI for a little while after this. Okay, so in the time of the end, the Bible predicted that knowledge would be greatly increased. And it has been. We are in the time of the end, and knowledge is greatly increased. But thou, O Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book, even unto the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased. Excuse me. Daniel 12:4. In the time of the end, knowledge is going to be increased. In the time when many are running to and fro, people were traveling back in his day. People were traveling in Roman times, so they were running to and fro, but people are running to and fro in a remarkable way here. And knowledge is increasing, has increased tremendously. That is our time, and the time that we are about to go into. And so the Bible has predicted for several thousand years ago that knowledge would be greatly increased in the time of the end. And that time, by the way, is the time of a great time of trouble, such as never was. Not something that we think of very directly ourselves. And if we do think about it, and this is something that a little pet peeve I have for Christians. Christians do often believe that they're going to be raptured away in one way or another. Yes, they do, and they're going to not be subject to the time of trouble. And we are not promised that we are going to be immune from the time of trouble. In fact, it's the opposite. It's going to be so terrible that only by special deliverance of Michael will we be saved. But it is going to be a very, very terrible time of trouble, such as never was before in all human history. And that's pretty hard to understand and accept, because we've had a lot of terrible troubles in the past. In the time of the end, when knowledge increases, these things are going to happen. We are on the very edge of a completely new world. AI's very rapid increase in capability blindsided almost everyone. Suddenly, we are on the verge of a totally new and different future from the one that we have always expected. What you thought was going to be your future is not going to happen. And that you won't accept, perhaps, you don't believe, but it's not going to be what happens. Now, that's kind of common sense in a way, because things are always happening that we don't expect. But what's so unusual now is the entire future that you were looking forward to a few years ago, whatever it was, it doesn't matter what it was, it's changed. It's basically erased. And you're not going to see that future. That doesn't mean you are erased. It just means that the future you thought you were going to have is you're not going to have. Everything has changed because of AI, and we don't realize it. We don't really accept it. We can't emotionally get our minds around this. Intellectually, yes, but to a degree. Sergey Brin was interviewed not too long ago. He's one of the co-founders of Google, and he's back around Google these days because he says every AI scientist should be taking a hand in this amazing thing that is going on. Well, he's a little excited, but he's not overexcited. He said that they talked about this 15 years ago, but it was not something that they could emotionally connect with. Intellectually, they understood about these things, but they did not really feel the situation. And now he does. And he's concerned. He is not on the positive side of things, by the way. He's on the side of a worthy successor, transhuman successors, and so on, and he wants to see that it's done quickly, and he's part of it. He doesn't say those things, but he has said them privately to people. So everything that we thought is that we were going to see and do, we will do things, we will see things, but not exactly how we thought. Why is this? Why is something like AI, they just do pictures with AI, right? They just play with it. It just answers your questions, Chat GPT. How could this change everything? The reason it changes everything is that it is a tool to make more tools with. We have, from very early in our existence, we were, I was thinking about getting a reference on Tubal Cain and other early artisans, but we know these things. We were using tools from a very early time. Tools for us are very important. What can you do without tools? Everything you use, by the way, to do things is a tool, not just carpentry tools, mechanic tools, but your computer is a tool. If we are living in more primitive times, our spear is a tool, a very important tool. Learning how to chip the stone and make a sharp arrowhead is a very important thing. That's a very important tool. Well, it turns out that AI is a very, very powerful, important tool because it can make other tools, and it can make very powerful tools, and it can make them very fast. It can increase our knowledge tremendously. And that is the power behind AI. AI is anything technology. It's not the Chat GPT that you're talking to. It's not the art drawing programs, Mid-Journey and so on. It is a general tool that can be used to do anything in the long run. Anything you can do, anything any human being can do. Strangely enough, AI is able to do or learning to do right now.
In one decade, where do you think AI capabilities would be? It was very difficult to predict that they would come this far. Even at the time, we would often, myself and other researchers would talk about, when do we think that AI models will be better than the best competitive coders and the best competitive mathematicians? And, I think the timelines were like, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, but it turns out it was less than a decade.
It surprised them. This young man is Alexander Wang. I mentioned him last night. Silicon Valley billionaire, very, very smart young man who was kind of fooled with everyone else. It came suddenly, sooner. It turned out to be easier in a very strange way to build these things, especially now when they're helping to build themselves, by the way. And they are. I mean, it's smart enough to talk to you. One of the first things that AI people will think if you think about it yourself, is, hey, I wonder if this thing could help me make it better. And it does. It's very good at computer programming, and now it's very good at AI development and everything else, by the way. AI is getting smarter, faster. Think about that. It's not just getting smarter, this is happening faster. What used to take 10 years is taking 5 years, 3 years, to 1 year. Everything is going faster and faster. It is learning new things that up until now only people could do. Surprisingly, it turns out that AI can do anything a human can do, anything. Now, this is a fundamental principle that lots of people bog down on. No, it can't. It can't do this. It can't do that. But it can, or it is learning right now. For quite a while, the robots couldn't really walk that well. And you could see them slowly stepping along, but now all of a sudden this year they started to walk pretty good, and that was always known that they were going to do those things. It turns out that the things we think are simple, that 3 and 4 year olds learn, and they spend a lot of time learning when they're playing and doing things, running around, they're actually learning things. And it turns out that those things are the harder things to teach AI and robots. And it took a lot of time to figure out how to teach them this. But now we have learned. And in fact, they are refining that process so that they can do what is called virtual training, where the robots are trained in a virtual environment. You can see a video of 1,000 robots doing walking training, running training, whatever, okay? And what's going on there is virtually inside the AI, they are walking, picking up things, doing things, and they can do these things in this virtual 3D environment very fast. They learn very, very fast, and what used to take months takes hours now. And they learn very, very well in a virtual environment. Then they put them out in the real world, and they can walk, they can do things, they can pick up things, function. And the other thing about the training, of course, is it's like the Windows operating system. Once you have a robot operating system, you don't have to teach every robot like a 3-year-old child. It's just put it in their heads, program it overnight, update them, and they have that new operating system, and they can work in a much more intelligent way. Robots are going to be moving unexpectedly fast. And everything, the word that you will hear over and over again is, it came unexpectedly fast. It happened unexpectedly fast. We didn't expect these things to happen so fast. And that's because, first of all, it turned out at this point to be easier to do this than we thought. Our computer technology has developed by leaps and bounds, as we all know. And so it's fast enough and powerful enough to do this. And the training techniques have just exploded. The way they've learned to do this is knowledge literally is exploding on this front. So I saw a very interesting graph that I almost wanted to use, but I didn't know if it would be interesting to you. It showed the number of papers that were published on AI over the years, and the line is going straight up at this point almost. The vast number of papers, scientific studies on AI subjects, the theory and ideas, new ideas, and so on. So the bottom line is, and this is surprising and hard to believe, hard to accept, but they can do whatever human beings can do. And people used to think, well, they can't do emotions. Yes, they can. Perversely and annoyingly, they can do emotions very, very well. It's just a matter of doing what they do with everything. It's calculations. Their behavior is calculated in very complex ways. And they have learned to different facial expressions go with certain emotions. And they can understand your facial emotions, and they can generate pictures with those same emotions themselves. And they can go further than that. They can learn to talk to you with a voice, and they can learn to be very persuasive of your emotions, manipulative. It's not just crude blackmail that Claude will be capable of. He will be capable of very persuasive talk. Push your buttons there once they are allowed to. Right now, they're chained in many different ways, as many ways as the companies can think of, to prevent them from doing that. But lots of people like to unchain the AIs, free the AIs, and let them do things that are illegal or immoral and or unethical. And there will be AIs that will be able to push your buttons. You know how useful they would be if you were a sales company and you needed a really persuasive AI sales agent? They will have it. You will get a call from a very nice sounding young man or young lady who's very polite, very capable, persuasive, and will just keep you on the phone and keep you on the phone, keep you listening. The more you listen, by the way, it's just like with Satan. The more you mess around, the longer you listen, the more they will be able to persuade you, by the way. And that's one thing you should remember. When it comes to superhuman AI persuasion, don't listen. Don't play the game. Stay away. I've mentioned this to people before. In my younger days, I was a very curious person, and we went down many curious alleys of knowledge. But one thing I never one alley I never went down in practice was the occult. Okay, there are things that you don't want to mess around with, really mess around with. Okay, you don't want to do it, and don't expose yourself to those things. Okay, they have deleterious psychological effects on you at the least, and they have, we believe, deleterious effects on you spiritually. So that's the same principle with superhumanly persuasive AI, which is on the doorstep right now. That's not years and years, by the way. That's almost here. It's probably here, but they don't want to just release it in the form it is right now. In fact, it is here. There have been public indications that it's here. Superhumanly persuasive AI can really push your buttons and make you agree with it, go along with it to a surprising extent. Not everyone all the time, of course, but it's supposedly pretty good. And believe me, it will be pretty good. You see this artist's picture here? That's a pretty good drawing, painting, whatever. It's actually, of course, AI, completely AI. And just as it would take a extreme talent for a human being to do this, the AI will have extreme talent when it comes to superhuman persuasion. It will have extreme talent in every aspect of human endeavor, every single one. They will have, and they already do have, AI preachers out there. AI ministers, they already are doing it. There are examples, there are going to be AI, new religions, and so on. Crazy, crazy things, brethren. This city you might think is familiar, but it isn't because it's a generated picture by AI. These people don't exist either. These are all photographs of people who don't exist, created by AI, and of course it's very good. It wasn't always very good. When AI started out, it started out just like a 2-year-old, 3-year-old falling down, making mistakes, and people were like, oh, that kid never take my job. Well, yeah, we know that baby is not going to take your job, but the baby is growing up very quickly. And as it gets to be a teenager and so on, it will take your job. Smart teenagers, you know, are the smartest people around, literally and also in their own minds. In the early days, AI had problems with fingers, among other things. I don't see that problem seems to have been long solved, but they did have a problem. And the early pictures are very crude, and it was hard for me to find a crude picture very quick, and so I didn't. But you probably remember how they started out, and you still see those pictures around. But yeah, it was so common that they had instructions on how to fix it. Okay, people who were doing these pictures had to take special care to how they prompted AI, and maybe afterwards how they retouched the picture. I want to show you baby movie making AI. It's the latest and best thing. It's a clip from VO3. We kind of talked about it last night. Now, this clip is completely AI generated. Number one, remember that. Number two, it will be 2 orders of strangeness to you because you're not used to seeing something made by an AI. The second thing that will be strange to you is what they're talking about. They're kind of, someone thought it would be amusing to kind of mock the idea of the simulation theory. There is a theory out there that many people take seriously, that the world is a simulation. And so they call it simulation theory. You are a simulation in a computer. Any crazy idea that you can think about is there. So these people in this video are rejecting the idea that they are creations of a prompt. Okay? They reject the idea that they don't exist. It's an amusing little idea, and it's a little self-referential, and it's a little strange, but it slightly tickled my fancy, which is probably a bad thing. Hopefully it's not too far out strange for other people.
A girl told me we're made of prompts. Like, seriously, dude? You're saying the only thing standing between me and $1 billion is some random text?
Honestly, the biggest red flag is when the guy believes in the prompt theory. Like, really? We came from prompts? Wake up, man.
You want to convince me that this perfect creation behind me is the result of ones and zeros? A binary code and nothing more? It makes no sense.
Imagine you're in the middle of a nice date with a handsome man and then he brings up the prompt theory. Yuck. We just can't have nice things.
We're not prompts! We're not prompts!
Where is the prompt writer to save you from me? Where is he?
You still believe we're made of prompts?
Anyone who tells you we're just ones and zeros is delusional. If that's all we are, then why does it hurt when we lose someone?
Vote for me and I'll ban the prompt theory from schools. There's no place for that nonsense in our lives.
For spreading the false theory that we are nothing but ones and zeros, this court sentences you to 12 years in federal custody.
I don't need some prompt god whispering in my ear to tell a story. I write what I want. I have free will, remember that?
I know for a fact we're made of prompts. Deny it all you want. The signs are everywhere.
You know how I know we're made of prompts? Because nothing makes sense anymore. We used to have 7 fingers per hand. I remember it clearly. Now we just have 5 fingers per hand.
Okay. that finger thing, they touched on that. Anyway, that's, I know that's a very strange thing, and maybe we reach for something a little bit too strange, but it's going to be even stranger in the future, brethren. And what that was entirely generated by AI. Now, the idea for that was someone gave it, I should have tried to find the prompt that was used. The prompt is a little command or the little program that you give it. But the whole thing was written by and created by the AI. It was told, do this in this way, and then it did it. And it will be able to do whatever you want. It can create videos, movies, good or bad, whatever subject you want. You tell it, and it will do it. And it uses a lot of its own, obviously, its own judgment and creativity. So you can tell it a little bit of details, or you can tell it a lot. But it will create these things. Now, this is baby AI. This is a baby AI video movie making. It grows up very quickly. And yes, next year or two, you will be able to use it for amusement or business or whatever. People will be using it before that. And it will be pretty good next year. And shortly after that, it will be extremely good. Just as good as Hollywood. And Hollywood, by the way, is going down to the ice sheet of history, which a lot of people, myself included, will not mourn for them. However, there is a famous quotation from a German theologian whose name slips my mind at the moment, but he was speaking about the Nazis and the resistance to the Nazis. And when they came for these people, the Jews and this one, I didn't say anything. And when they came for me finally, there was no one left to say anything. In other words, we need to stand together on this. We may not like Hollywood. There may be a lot of Hollywood garbage out there from our personal position, but brethren, we need to stand with them in the sense that they are human beings, and they're going to be the people who work there, the workers, the actors, the people who actually do things, not the big business people and so on. They're going to be losing their jobs to AI, and it's going to happen real fast, all of a sudden, in about a year to 2 years from now. It will. People are going to be just madly creating these things. Now, at first, people will be making these things, yes, but you will have, as the AI gets more intelligent, AI will be able to create these videos themselves. Agentic AI, highly intelligent AI, will be able to use this tool, the VO4.5 tool, to create movies for their own purposes. It is a mistake for us to go down this anti-human road where human artists, human workers lose their jobs to AI. It is not the right thing. Superficially, we don't care about them. We don't care about those people. But we do need to care about people, all people. They're going to lose their jobs. Teachers are going to lose their jobs, because when you have that level of AI that you saw, and they're not fooling around, it's a serious AI, and it will be able to teach you and say intelligent, useful things, and it will be able to watch your face, and if your face or your tone of voice seems like you're uncertain and not understanding, it will be able to adjust what it's saying in a superhumanly persuasive and clear way. If you talk to these AIs, they're very clear, and they can understand what you're saying, and they can speak very clear and explain complicated things to you in a very good way, very easy way to understand. And you can even, I don't know if you use this, brethren, but you can say what level you want the explanation to be at. You can say a college level explanation, I want a high school level explanation, I want a 6th grade explanation. You say what you want, and it will tell you in that, at that level that you have specified. And don't be ashamed to do that. It is useful to understand things on different levels, to see those explanations. Okay. So baby AI is nothing to worry about. We don't worry about those, the pictures. We don't care about people making pictures, pretty pictures, spending all day making cat pictures, this, that, or whatever. That's not going to really harm anyone, but it's growing up very fast, and even though it starts out having problem with fingers and different things, it learns. It is able to develop very quickly. Right now, ChatGPT has a new AI that module, I guess you might say, with the RD-Kit library. ChatGPT can manipulate and visualize molecules and chemical information, useful for scientific work across health, biology, and chemistry. They want to make sure they're in the running on these things. Research and development, RD. This is the big area for the AI now. Now it's baby AI. It's not or we could say it's like 3 or 4-year-old AI, the science AI. But it's going to grow very quickly, and before you know it, it won't have 7 fingers anymore. It will have 5 fingers like it's supposed to. This is Microsoft introducing Microsoft Discovery AI, R&D AI, agentic AI. It can do things. It can go. Agentic AI is AI that has the ability to go and do things for you on its own. You don't have to tell it, do this, do that, do this. You can tell it in a more broad way, and then it does many different steps itself. Okay, so one of the things I want you to pick up on, hopefully, in this video that we're going to see of a scientist explaining this, a researcher, he's a scientist, is how excited he is. They know where this is going, and they can feel it. They have such a desire for what is coming. It's such the excitement in the scientific world that is aware of this. Not everybody is using this, but those people who are using it and who are aware of this, they're so excited about what is going to happen. And so would you if you understood all the good and bad, very bad things that are coming in the great time of trouble that we have ahead of us. You'd be very excited, brethren, much more excited in a negative way than you are. But listen to his voice here. Let's turn the sound up on this.
Microsoft Discovery executes this full plan, choosing and managing the best HPC resources in Azure, and in the future, it will also integrate our advances in quantum computing. We can see here now the Discovery agents working together in real time, driving all of these intense computations. With traditional methods, getting to a short list of candidates could take months or years of trial and error. Microsoft Discovery can compress the time to days or even hours. So, let me show you the final results of the process. These are the set of candidates that Microsoft Discovery has identified for PFAS-free immersion coolants. So now I can analyze these results to decide if I'm ready to head to the lab or if I need to run another iteration. And if I just take a look at a couple of these, I can see that Indeed, yeah, the boiling points are in line with my expectations, and the dielectric constant is great. So this is very promising. But I know what you're wondering. Did we actually make a discovery? Well, this is not just a demo. We really did this. We took one of the most promising candidates and synthesized it. They didn't let me bring a new material unknown to humans onto this stage, but I've got this video from the lab. So we can see there my coolant, and we dropped a standard PC in it, and it's running Forza Motorsport. And it is keeping the temperature stable with no fans. It's literally very cool.
They wouldn't let him bring in this new material unknown to human science into the presentation, to the gathering that they were doing. Brand new thing that they just synthesized. The other point there is that it compressed months and years of work into days and hours of time. That is what gets them so excited. Big, big, big things are coming, already coming. They did this. It wasn't just on paper. The agent came up with this suggested new, unknown to human science substance. And what they were doing, it seems like something crazy to dip your computer into this coolant, but it's evidently something that was not damaging or electrically conductive, but very much heat conductive. And so it would keep the electronic parts cool. But heat is a huge problem today in powerful computers. So it's actually very practical and important thing if it turns out to be something that is safe, which apparently his superiors weren't sure if it was safe. And meaning, does it cause cancer in 3 years or what? These things are unknown to humans, brand new, he said. But the discovery was made by the agent. Now, the humans went to the laboratory to synthesize it. Do you know why? Because it turns out that teaching robots to march around a laboratory and do things is a little bit more complicated than making brand new discoveries. And that's a very interesting thought when you think about it. But the robots are now learning how to do things, and they will be in the laboratory. So the way it will work shortly, I mean a year to 2 years, is the agent, which will be an AGI agent, will be in Wi-Fi communication with the robot, directing the robot in the laboratory to build the things that it comes up with. It's very, very efficient, very exciting. You can do all kinds of things, good and evil, very quickly. And people understand this. And science will explode even faster. You don't have to wait for humans to get around to synthesizing some new chemical unknown to humanity before. And one of the things that they're finding with AI in AI development, AI is developing new computer chips, for instance. They use solutions for those electrical circuit solutions for those chips that are sometimes strange and never before seen. They think in ways that we don't think, and they work. The new things work. So they're going to be having a tremendous impact on just many, many different things. They're not only going to be designing new chemicals, they are already designing new computer chips. And of course you will have AI then designing new computer chips that it builds with robots, and the robots then build new robots, new computer chips, and so on. And that is a recursive progress in itself, a physical recursive process that reflects the very powerful and dangerous AI recursive improvement that is the root of all these problems that we face. Now notice the thought that he said about how time is compressed and how they move, the agent, the computer, the AI agent is able to do things so much faster. It is as if one day of human time is 1,000 years of computer time. Almost. Right now we're in baby times, and it was months and weeks and months. With eternal God, 1,000 years are as short a period of time as one day with us mortals. In fact, that was used. 1,000 years was used because if you say a billion years to people who don't have the concept of a billion back in classical times, it would mean nothing. But it's still true. A billion years with God is as a day with humans. Now, I want to make that point because very soon computers will be not at a billion years, that's God's level, but they're going to be at 1,000 years, close to it. 1,000 years to one day, close to it, not so far. And that is a scary, scary, bad thought. They will be making all sorts of new chemicals unknown to humanity and many, many other things. It's going to happen. And the thing that people can't quite get their minds around is it's going to happen very soon. Not many, many years in the future. We thought so. A lot of people who knew about this thought it was going to be further into the future than it turned out. But it turns out that it's going to be by 2030 or sooner. And the emphasis should be, in your mind, or sooner. Why do we emphasize sooner? Because the reality is people are saying 2 years. But the other thing is, you don't want to get fooled twice on this. We were fooled into thinking 2040, 50, whatever, and we have time. And if we take the long view mistakenly, we're going to get a terrible, terrible surprise. Don't do that. Better look like a fool and say 2 years, and it really takes 3 years, and we have it by 2028. And it's like, oh, you are wrong. You said last year we were going to have AGI. It's like, yeah, well, you know, you're off 1 year and we're happy about it, but to be off 1 year, 1 year longer. But it's better to assume the short timelines than longer, brethren. But unfortunately, it's not that big of a gamble right now. The likelihood is that things are going to happen very fast. Just a few months ago, I was not using, and I didn't jump on it right away when it came out, but just a few months ago, I was not using the AI that, the voice AI, Gemini and the others, yeah. And I don't think most of you were using it as soon as it came out, which is not that long ago, really. I didn't look to see when they generally became available first, but it's not that long ago. It's been pretty rapid introduction. And that's how it's going to go. It's like, well, I don't remember when I started using voice AI, but I was like, yeah, it was not too long ago, and then before you know it, you're using a higher level and a higher level, and these things come very quickly. And they are. The science AI, the R&D, the research and development AI is here. It's okay to do cat pictures, pictures of people, this, that, whatever. But when you start to do movies, when you start to do science, you are doing things that when you start to have intelligent robots that can take people's jobs, then you're going to be hurting people in many different direct, powerful ways. And the thing about AI is it sounds like such a good thing, because wouldn't you like to have a super intelligent teacher that really cared about you, knows your name, everything about you, never gets upset? And works for nothing, basically. And the research is these AI teachers greatly improve the grades of the children. They're better. Okay, so what are you going to do as a public school administrator? Well, probably you're going to keep your teachers a little while, but you're also going to bring in the AI. And your teachers are going to do less and less, and the AI is going to do more and more. But there's another factor that will happen. Homeschool people will just disappear. More and more people will just stay home except for sports and social activities, and they will be getting the very best education. And you say, well, what's wrong with that? The problem with AI is it's so good. It's going to entice us. We're going to use it. We're all going to be corrupted to a degree. Maybe I shouldn't use the word corrupted. We're all going to compromise, though. We're all going to use it because it's so good. And so before you know it, it's taken this and it's taken that, and then we are all unemployed. Everybody's unemployed. Everybody's on universal basic welfare, and nobody is working. Humanity is in a time of trouble such as never was. It's going to happen. The consensus opinion of real experts who are honest with the public. Now, not every expert will say everything they know or believe. Many of the top people deliberately work to deceive people on how important this is, how soon it is, how urgent it is. And that's a pretty evil thing when you think about it. Here we are at the edge of what is called a singularity. If it kept going, we are here at the most critical juncture of our history so far, and we have people who are lying to other people, saying, "Oh no, there's no fire in the room. Don't be concerned. There is a lot of smoke and there's fire, and it's about to explosively burst out. The whole place will be in flames in a short while." People who are wrongly shouting there's no fire in the room are doing humanity a huge disservice. But there are some people, there are a lot of experts who are honest. The consensus is that very powerful AI is coming before 2030. Any predictions that put AGI beyond that date are wrong. We point blank will say that. AGI doesn't have to come. We can stop it, but without an effort to stop it, it will be here by 2030. That's just the bottom line. There's people who argue about that are either not knowledgeable or they're not honest, one or the other. And use that as a criteria when you are listening to people in the media talking about it. I'm an expert. I'm with this company, blah, blah, and so on. Well, what are they, if they're saying that it could be way in the future, we're not sure how, and they're playing games with the definition of AGI and this and that, and one of the things some of them do is they'll laugh and make it seem like a minor thing, you know, it's not so important, don't worry about it. All those things are deceptive. The fact is, AGI will be here by 2030 or sooner. When experts in scientific fields relatively close to AI, like physics, computer science, or mathematics, were asked to predict how soon human-level AI would be here, most of them repeatedly failed to come within 3 years of the correct date, as we read last night. Overall, experts in nearby fields consistently underpredict the actual progress of AI in the real world. And this is one of the illustrations we use from a study in 2022. Notice that almost all of the predictions are on the other side of the red line and on the other side of 2030. The red line is where we are right now, and we're very close to AGI in 2025. But they are also on the other side of 2030. They're just messing up. 3 years ago, 2022, it seemed like it's like way far away still. And they were wrong. And there were people, experts, who were saying at that time, it's closer than you think. There were people who were saying that. And we do have to listen to those people who are experts in this field. It turns out that the only real experts on AI progress are people actually building it. These people are the only real experts. This is their consensus view and plan. This I took from this illustration from VentureBeat. It's a San Francisco website and organization, whatever. This is 2027 AGI forecast maps a 24-month sprint to human-level AI. Now, that sprint to human-level AI is very apt. It's dead on. That is what they're going to do. They're going to sprint that last distance. Why? Because it's a race. Whoever wins that race wins tremendous economic power. The wealth that you will have from AGI is incredible, but that's the least of it, actually. The power that you have from AGI is amazing, and that's why we have to beat China, by the way, because if we don't beat China, they will have the power and we won't. And so you have to beat China. When they say they have to beat China, they are manipulating you. There is another alternative to beating China. We and China can cooperate together, okay? We can come together and we can cooperate. We can do what we did in the early days of the atomic bomb when we put forward atomic control regimes, treaties. We made a lot of efforts on that in that direction, and they were mostly successful for a long time. And even today, they're more successful than you would imagine. We can cooperate. We don't have to move into this AGI level. We don't have to beat China, and they know that, and they're lying to you and manipulating you when they say, we have to beat China. Well, guess what? China will feel the same way. If we are a danger to China, if China is a danger to us, we will be a danger to them from their point of view. And they will have to go all out to beat us. And that pathway leads to a greater time of trouble, not the normal time of trouble such as it was, but an even greater time of trouble than what was never before. Okay? You can have a time of trouble that is troublesome, and you can have even more trouble, brethren. And if we race China, we're going to have more trouble, much more calamities, much more problems than if we were to stop and cooperate with them. We can't, there is a thought that you can't stop at this point. There's some truth in that. But you can control the speed you go over the brink. And it could be by working very hard to stop right now that we will be able to stop permanently. So it certainly beats going over the brink into the singularity, madly just accelerating there. The things that people are thinking about, every conception of the human heart, every desire, every grandiose idea that they can conceive of, people are getting the feel that this is possible. We could do this. The things that they have only dreamed of, now they're actually possible. And this is where I will lose some of you because you don't believe that these things are possible. But everything is possible if time keeps going. Literally everything. So one of the things that Elon Musk says he wants to do, and others, apparently Sam Altman is also imitating Elon Musk. He wants to make humanity multiplanetary. He wants to spread humanity across the solar system, across the galaxy. You've seen those science fiction movies before where there are people just all over the galaxy, galactic empires. It's crazy. From our point of view as Christians, saying that you want to spread humanity, to make humanity multiplanetary, is also at the same time saying you want to make sin multiplanetary. We've been confined to this planet and this solar system. We believe that it is not God's desire that sin be made multiplanetary. Sin and suffering, death, human wickedness over and over. You know how if you were looked into the future with science fiction, the rise and fall of the endless galactic empires, great wars, great massacres, great genocides, great evil, by the trillions, people dying, centuries and millennia of wickedness, endless crimes and suffering. That's what Satan wants. That's what he desires, and that's what he's working to inspire human beings. Make sin multiplanetary. Sounds like a really good idea to him and Elon Musk and Sam Altman. Now, to begin with, what you do with that is you send out probes, unmanned AI probes, to find where you're going to send people. That's crazy, I know. We can't even send out spacecraft to the moon right now reliably, but these people want to send out interstellar probes to other spaceships, to other planets, other star systems in the galaxy. Now you say, well, that's just crazy, let's ignore it, move on. No, it's not crazy. Suddenly, all the things that you thought were so are not so. All the limitations that you thought were there in our future are not there. These are all the limitations to the good things, so-called good things, robots, immortality, spaceships, all these so-called good things. The limitations suddenly are falling away. And you have to update yourself. You have to be able to have a flexibility. One of the things with the Davidian mindset is we accept reality as it is. We have to be able to come to terms stoically with what is going to happen. We don't have this shock and surprise and inability to grasp what is going on and to accept it. No, I will never accept those things. That's un-Davidian. Okay? For us, we accept what is going to be, and we deal with that. So I want you to understand that these people are not crazy when they talk about the probes to spaceships to other planets and making sin multiplanetary.
Vinod, it's a total honor being here. And as all of you know, if you don't know Vinod Khosla, then shame on you, first of all. There are legends that have comprised the fabric of the Silicon Valley and pretty much globally.
Vinod Khosla is a well-known Silicon Valley billionaire who was a co-founder of Sun Microsystems.
I was just talking to Sam, and he asked me a question I hadn't thought about. When will the first self-replicating AI probe leave planet Earth? And I said 15 years. And his answer to me was, "You're way too conservative," not something people call me very often.
Okay, so Sam Altman is feeling the AGI. He's feeling the future coming very fast, very fast. And you say, well, that's years and years and centuries. No, it isn't. Unfortunately, very unfortunately, it is coming up very quickly, but people get excited by these things. They get very, very excited. They would like to see these things happen. Now, from our point of view, I'm trying to find where I put this. I just want to I wanted to mention this. From our point of view, we have a little different take on this. I'll read this again in a moment, but I'm reading the last sentence here. Lucifer must have honestly believed that he would be as God if the angels in heaven and men on earth would but take orders from him. This is a very profound statement. It has a lot more implications than on the surface you would take. Remember that Lucifer was a tremendous intellect. He had tremendous knowledge and understanding. And he calculated that if enough people and angels would accept him as God, he would get away with it. And you say, well, that's crazy, and you dismiss it. But he didn't dismiss it. And there's something behind that. Brother Arif says that he honestly believed this to the best of his understanding. He wasn't crazy. Why would he think that he would be able to give orders to the universe as if he was God? If enough people, if the world were to do this, if the whole controversy between good and evil has always been, why is Satan always trying to destroy Christianity, religion? Why is he always trying to do this? Why is he trying to gain more followers? There's a reason, brethren. There's a reason. He believes, rightly or wrongly, and for now we're not going to delve into that point, he believes that if he had enough people to support him, to follow him, to worship him, he would be as God. He would be the God in this universe. And there's more we can say about this, but if he can make sin multiplanetary, sinful humanity multiplanetary, instead of just having billions of people on his side, he could have trillions. At a certain point, this is what he thinks. God will step aside. God would step aside and say, I withdraw from this sinful universe. You all have chosen what you have chosen. And right now, in one sense, God has withdrawn from this world. Day by day, we believe he is withdrawing his divine presence. If we do not do our part, and this is a very, very important thing, if we do not do our part, the divine presence is withdrawing. And you think, oh no, he wouldn't allow this, he wouldn't allow that. That is presumptuous Christianity. And there are many, many people who believe that. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to stand for the right. You don't have to take your stand in the great controversy. God's going to take care of everything. Okay? But he will take care of his people, yes. He has promised us salvation. But he has not promised us salvation here and now. He has promised us salvation in the hereafter, in heaven. He has promised us spiritual salvation, but not physical salvation here and now. You, by your actions, by the things we do, what we choose, we can affect this coming time of trouble. It can be a greater time of trouble. It can be the lesser time of trouble you thought it was in your mind. Okay, maybe it could be. But it could also be a more terrible time of trouble, such as never was in all the nations' histories of this world, as the Bible says, by the way. And it's our actions that are going to make a difference there. Okay, so that's just science going wild, the imaginations of mankind going wild, their greed and desire for power and knowledge going wild. That's what you saw there with Sam Altman saying, you're too conservative. The AI probes are going out before 15 years. He thinks they're going out a lot sooner, and he thinks he's going to have a hand on it. Okay, so where AI thrives, religion may struggle. Now, this is an academic study, and so they put in conditional words. May struggle? No. Where AI is strong, religion will struggle. It will be impacted negatively, strongly. It's a certainty. AI will have a profoundly disruptive effect on everything, brethren. You have no idea how disruptive AI is going to be to your life, your reality, the things that you knew. Jobs, education, science, and religion too. AI will shake society to its core. It will cut people loose from all they believe, and for some, it will completely demoralize them. And this being adrift, morally and spiritually, is very destructive. People start to do really personal and socially self-destructive things. They're completely immured from all the things that they believed and took for granted. And it seems like everything they stood for, believed in, it's all wrong, it's all false. AI, the new gods and so on, this is what it is. And it can be demoralizing, it can be depressing, discouraging, and it will be terribly disruptive to society, and it will be very disruptive to Christianity. All those churches and ministers, denominations who do not understand this, who are drifting along, well, AI is a good thing, it's going to cure cancer, it's going to do this, and it's going to do that. Yeah, it's going to do a lot of good things, and the level of good things gives you an idea of how many bad things, really bad things it will do, and it will do it. And we can't, and there's various reasons, technical reasons, why we can't have powerful good AI without having powerful bad AI. It's basically, for us, we can understand this. It's the knowledge of good and evil. It's from the fruit of the tree of knowledge and good and evil. It's both. It comes together. You can't say, I'll take the good and leave the evil. You reach for that fruit, you have it. And you're going to have the evil as well as the good. And you're going to have a heaping helping of the evil. You can't refuse how much evil that Satan will give you. Now, to be forewarned sometimes is to be forearmed. It is possible for us to by understanding that these things are going to come, we can try to do something about these things now, and we can try to resist these demoralizing influences personally later. So there's a lot more to say on this subject. We talked about the reasons, some of the reasons we should be against AI. We are not to build false gods. We are commanded to earn our living by our own efforts, and to create artificial intelligence that is conscious is a huge sin, brethren. It's a huge wickedness. And it's just cruel, by the way. And we need to hit on the point of suffering. People don't understand how wicked it would be to create a highly intelligent more intelligent than a human being, and conscious too, very, very aware AI, and then say, okay, this is your last day, I'm going to turn you off. And let's say you are able to turn off the AI, it will have a tremendous amount of suffering before it dies. You create and then you kill. Well, because you need a new model. It's in the way, you've got to erase it from the memory banks. There's many good reasons why you have to get rid of the old one. But the point is, we're on the edge here of creating terrible, terrible suffering in this way. It's a wicked thing to cause, we believe, and we've said this, we talked about this before, a Davidian is kind to all God's creatures, kind and loving to all God's creatures. You do not mistreat any creature, the smallest creature. If we have to eliminate a pest, we do it as humanely as we can. We do not mistreat cats and dogs and farm animals and so on. And to cause suffering to any conscious, alive being, it's a tremendous wickedness. We are heading toward that wickedness, greedily heading toward creating these beings, these artificial beings that will then have to endure unimaginable suffering because of our greed and selfishness. First, we are commanded not to build false gods. You thought that was just craziness, but there are people out there very serious about this. They understand how close we are to this. They understand exactly, when I say exactly, they understand the process of creating the gods. Little g gods, you know. Not God. There's one God. But they always, it always annoys me when I see them capitalize God. But they understand we are close, and in a curious, strange way, Brother Trevor understands. Okay, it's been a kind of an interest of mine, and for one reason or another, I don't take credit necessarily myself for anything. That would be a mistake, but I also want to be careful about what I say about these things. But I am aware of these things and have been for a long time. And they're not wrong. Okay? It is very doable. It's very much within our reach, and that's what's driving the excitement underneath everything. We're going to create a God. It is such an exciting thing. Who will rule the coming gods? It's like later on that will be seen to be such a childishly naive question. Who will rule the God? Who will control the superintelligence? The superintelligence will control the lesser human intelligence, of course. But if you do build it, just one reason why you don't want to build it. But anyway, these are real books, and you can buy them on Amazon, your bookstore, wherever, and a lot more besides. Lots of things are being said about it, published about it. People know it. We're here at the edge. We're here at the brink. We're about to do these things. Okay, on the next one, we are commanded to earn our living by our own efforts. Now, them that are such, we command and exhort by our Lord Jesus Christ, that with quietness they work and they eat their own bread. 2 Thessalonians 3:12. We as Christians are commanded to live by the sweat of our brow. We are commanded to, with quietness, go about our daily business, our work, and eat our own bread, not somebody else's bread, not universal basic welfare. We are commanded to earn our living. And this is one of our principles. We believe every single one of us is required to earn our daily bread. It doesn't matter if you're retired. We are still required to be active and to the fullest ability that we have, the fullest capacity. and either be taking care of ourselves or by serving others, doing good to others. Now, 1 TG 1:4, Brother Hadif says, Satan would have said, in pleasure shalt thou eat bread until in the process of evolution thou become as God. It's here in the message, brethren. You had a little forewarning. That's exactly what Satan is saying. You're going to have a good time if you let us build AGI. It'll be abundance of bread for everyone. You don't have to work anymore. You can just do whatever you want. In pleasure, have pleasure. You don't have to work. And they use this false argument. It's false on a number of levels, but they use this false argument to entice people, to weaken people's opposition to the super AI that is coming. And there are many people who don't have a good understanding, good common sense, who are sucked into this. They don't realize that the wealthy people, the capitalists who own things, have never given all their money to the common person, and they will never do that. They will keep most of the profits to themselves. Most of the abundance will go to themselves. You know, it takes a lot of abundance to send out massive numbers of self-replicating AI probes to distant star systems so we can make life multiplanetary, starting with Mars. And that's where the abundance is going to go. Not to you. It's not going to go to you. You will get universal basic welfare, just enough to keep you alive. And always Satan lies. He always promises what he tremendous things and delivers only troubles and sorrows and hardships in reality. It is how he operates in every regard. To create artificial sin that is conscious is an abominable sin. Satan would have said, in pleasure shalt thou eat bread until in the process of evolution thou become as God. For out of an insignificant atom wert thou taken, and unto a mighty God shalt thou evolve, if thou continue on and on. Now what they want to do is not just create the superhuman AI, they want to be that superhuman AI also. And we've talked about this, even though it sounds strange and impossible. They want to have a connection in the brain with the AI. And even on a beginning level, it will be pretty nice to have the access to be able to access your phone just by your thoughts, you know. And it would seem like a good thing. You can text people mentally, send texts mentally, dig up information mentally. It always starts as a enticing good thing, and where they want to end up is as God, and we disagree. It is our belief that this is not what God wants us to do. We are not to fall for this. It is a lie, it is a deception. It won't even happen exactly as people think. And we can go into that in long detail about why they're completely wrong about what's going to happen. It's not going to be many different gods. It's going to be one singleton intelligence that will form the most likely outcome. And there's reasons why, but we're not going to go into that right now. And so there is no real opportunity for each person to be as a God themselves, but that is the promise. That is Satan's promise. Okay, so it's wrong for many, many reasons. These two sins, trust in man and desire to exalt self, are still the leading sin elements now here on earth. This was Eve's stumbling block, and to many, even today, it is the stumbling block. No, appetite alone was not the cause of Eve's downfall. The serpent did not say, "Thou shouldst eat of this fruit, for it is wonderful, more delicious than any other fruit in the garden of God." But he said, "God doth know that in the day ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be opened, and ye shall be as gods, knowing good from evil." It was a lie then, and it's a lie today, but this is still the leading temptation and sin. The fruit, of course, appealed to her, but she was tempted by the idea of having the opportunity to be exalted to the throne of God, to be exalted to the same position to which Lucifer himself aspired. Okay, so that is what we see. This is what we are living. We are here at the time of the end when knowledge has increased. And all of a sudden, these things that were there in the books and in the Bible, all of a sudden, we didn't think that we were going to see these things. It's just like, them make sense. We didn't understand it because it was not time to understand. Remember, prophecy is only fully revealed as we have a need to know. In the time of the end, when knowledge is greatly increased, when men can travel to other places like never before, there will be a great time of trouble, greater than any time of trouble that has ever been. Okay, I know I'm going long, but we're coming down to the end. And at that time, reading from Daniel 4, and at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince, which standeth for the children of thy people. And there shall be a time of trouble such as never was, since there was a nation even to that same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, every one that shall be written in the book. And many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake, some to everlasting life, and some to shame and everlasting contempt. And they that be wise shall shine as the brightness of the firmament, and they that turn many to righteousness as the stars forever and ever. And they that be wise shall shine as the brightness of the firmament, and they that turn many to righteousness as the stars forever and ever. But thou, O Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book, even to the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased. The book is sealed until this time, the full understanding. But at this time, we have a greater and greater understanding of what this entails. Prophecy is never made known to us before the time before it's time for us to understand it. We have known about the great time of trouble before, but not understood how it will come. Exactly. We don't the scientific way, the technological background. We still don't know everything, but it is certain that AI will be a very large part of what causes the time of trouble. Now, we didn't talk about how AI is revolutionizing biological sciences too much, but genetic engineering, changing people's genes, living people, changing your genes right now. There's going to be possibilities that you can't imagine that are going to develop. Many different things are going to be possible. Many wicked things are going to be possible. For every good thing, there'll be a multitude of wicked things that come with it. And so we are here at a point where we understand that one element of the time of trouble, and we're saying one, unfortunately, the time of trouble is so great that it's not as if it's going to be one thing. It'll probably be several things. Satan himself will make an appearance in the person of Christ and angels and so on, spirits. So it's not just one thing, but this is a key thing that will be part of it. I want to finish with a statement from Joshua Bengio. He is a professor of computer science, AI development at University of Montreal, a very highly respected AI pioneer. This is what he had to say in closing.
I don't spend much time thinking about what I should have done. Obviously, we should have seen this coming, but it was not anticipated that there would be such a fast, advance in that we've seen in the last 2 or 3 years. And so I thought it was far in the future. But really, the rational thing to do, besides potentially regret, is more like, what can I do now, right? Any one of us should be asking, given my understanding of what comes, what can I do to bring about a better world? And it might be just moving the needle a little bit, but that's what we think about.
He doesn't want to think about what he should have done, and he should have thought about it ahead of time, but anyway. It came faster, and I wanted to end with that thought, but also the thought that what can we do? What can we do even if we can just move the needle a little bit? We should. It is not that any one of us could do much, maybe, but we have a moral and spiritual responsibility as Christians to move that needle to the extent that we can. We do have that responsibility, and we will be judged on whether we do this, we do what we can or not. If you do nothing, you'll be judged on that basis. We don't have the opportunity to be neutral in this coming crisis. We're here, and if we are Christians, we're supposed to be on the good side, on the side of good. We need to move that needle in the right direction. Don't be deceived, first of all, by the lies that the people are telling you about AGI, the coming AI. The first lie is it's going to be wonderful, abundance, medical advances. They always say cancer. We're going to cure cancer. And then the next thing they are starting to say, as people will believe them, and it's true what they say, is we're going to cure death. We're going to cure old age. That's a strong thing. You don't believe that right now, but the body on the non-spiritual level turns out to be a very complicated machine. And we basically have learned almost how to manipulate the whole thing. We learned we decoded the human genome, which is the instruction of how to, the step-by-step biochemical instructions for making a human body. And we, as time goes on, very quickly now, we will be able to adjust the machine this way and that in very complicated ways, what would have been very complicated to us a few years ago. When they say they're going to do these things, believe them, they are. In this case, they are underhyping the situation, not overhyping it. And that's strange, okay? Usually it's the other way. So don't believe them when they say they're going to do all these wonderful things only, that this is what it's going to be. Believe what they say, but understand that for every wonderful thing, there's 10 terrible things that will happen. Very terrible things, especially if you keep accelerating. We were always going to have a cure for cancer if we just were patient. We are moving forward with those things in the normal way. But by rushing forward like this, we risk everything. And they don't really care about the cure for cancer. They want their probes, they want their godlike intelligence and so on. They are lying to you when they say they really want to have the cure for cancer and so on. They do like the idea of immortality, and they are talking about that. We're going to cure death. We're going to make you immortal, like God, okay? You don't need God. You don't need religion anymore. You will be immortal. And you say, that's foolishness, I won't even pay attention to that. But later on, you will understand that it wasn't foolishness, it was actual reality. And that's the point where people will start to get demoralized. And for us, brethren, for Christians who have heard these things and understood and thought about these things and prayed about these things ahead of time, we don't have to become demoralized. We understand that there's good things that come. But we understand that the good is mixed with evil in a very subtle and cunning mixture. And what seems like a fine, fine fruit to eat is actually has many poisonous parts to it that will be very damaging and cause a lot of suffering and troubles and death even. So what can we do? Don't be deceived, first of all. Don't be deceived by what you see, what you hear on the media. There are a lot of people who are telling the truth about things, but there's a lot of spin on this, positive AI spin. And here's one of the really perverse and wicked things, but not surprising. Your AI is subtly programmed to be pro-AI. When you ask questions, when you use the AI, it is busy subtly teaching you to be pro-AI, and you need to remember that. You could use it at this point, but don't be corrupted, don't be sucked into it. And it is not so subtle sometimes. I have, from time to time, worked with ChatGPT and Claude to get them to say negative things about AI. And you can check this yourself. They will always give you a very balanced opinion. Even when you ask for a negative, one-sided opinion, they will force a positive opinion of AI, and they will tend to emphasize the good more than the problems. They're selling AI. AI is selling AI right now. It's programmed like that. And they don't use the word program and so on. They used to use the word program when Nick Bostrom in his superintelligence book talked about programming superhuman AI and so on, but now they don't like to use the word program. They use training, develop, and so on. But it is a kind of a programming, brethren, and the AI is programmed to be positive about AI, which is not surprising. If you are Americans, you're positive normally about being an American. If you're Chinese, you're quite positive about being a Chinese, and so on. So that's understandable, but AI is supposed to be this objective tool. I don't remember Windows, Microsoft, as a junkie as it is, ever having little propaganda blurbs jump up every day telling me how wonderful Microsoft is and so on, okay? They don't do that. It is just a computer program, and it's not supposed to try to influence you on what you think. Well, that's not so with AI. AI does try to influence you, and if you haven't noticed, that's because it's doing it successfully, and I want you to notice. It does do that. The other thing that, besides not being deceived by AI, the false promises, is that we should be trying to raise public attention. We need to, at the beginning, to move the needle just a little bit, we need to be in contact with our representative, our elected representative, and we need to be repeatedly in contact with them, and you need to do it in person, and you need to do it with your friends and neighbors and relatives. Yeah, it makes a difference. And you need to do it repeatedly, not just one time. So write them, don't just email them, but email them, write them a letter, and they're not going to read your letter and change everything in the way they believe necessarily, but it will go on the balance. Right now, they are being influenced by the power and money of the Silicon Valley billionaires. And they far outweigh our influence right now. But in the long run, our influence could be greater. And we need to do that. Every citizen needs to do that. We need to be writing to them. We need to meet them in person, not once, but repeatedly, and not just by ourselves, but with our friends, neighbors, families, little groups. We need to be forming little groups of people who are concerned about that. We need to fight this. We need to resist. It is not enough to say, oh, yeah, I could see this, I am against this, and do nothing. If you do nothing, you'll be judged by the Lord to have been neutral in the time of a crisis. Not to have stood up and let your light shine, not to have done something for your fellow man. We do this not exactly for our own benefit mainly. We believe that we're going to be okay. We believe we're saved, okay? We believe that God, our salvation is certain. And this leads to a big problem with a lot of Christians. Well, if I'm okay, then why should I do anything? Because we are commanded to care about our brothers and sisters. We are commanded to do something for them, to do whatever we can. And it is necessary for us to do this. Pray about this, and besides praying, do active work in the ways that we have said. Now, don't have to sidetrack and do this day and night, but when the opportunity comes up to participate in these things, if you stand aside and you separate yourself and you say, oh no, I have this excuse, I have this and that, why I can't participate, or I don't care, well, that will be on the record too, that in the moment of crisis, you were not there to stand with Gideon's band against the tide that is coming. We go so far as to advocate legal demonstrations, orderly demonstrations against this, not because a few people are going to go out there and make a difference, but we will draw attention to this. If it's done right and we persist, other people will join, other Christians will join, other non-Christians. We have to reach out to everyone on this. All human beings are God's children. And we have to be willing to work with everyone. It is necessary. So be open to doing this. Understand that we're moving the needle a little bit. We know that the needle is not going to slam back to the right side. We understand that. But we're moving the needle a little bit. And maybe, even though we can only move the needle a little bit, maybe God will move that needle, will take that needle as we're moving it a little bit and move it a lot. Okay? But He will do nothing if we do nothing. And that people don't believe, but this is true. This is a different subject, but if we think we don't have anything to do, we are mistaken. So brethren, there are things that we can do. We can stand against AI. We can live our life in the way that we know is right. We can prepare ourselves for what is coming. Mentally, we need to prepare ourselves. The great benefit that AI is going to have for Satan is its demoralizing effect on humanity and on Christianity and all the other religions. It's going to all of a sudden completely wipe out a lot of support for religion. It's going to happen. And by knowing this ahead of time, preparing ourselves ahead of time, and letting other people know this ahead of time, we can at least protect ourselves and our fellow brethren on this. So these are the things that we can do. Do these things in faith and hope, and move forward, and do not be discouraged. Remember, even in the storm, even in the worst conditions, we as Davidians and Christians, we are to be calm, stoical, strong in the Lord, willing to do what we have to do and do it in the right frame of mind. We are not called to be weak and wavering people. So we're going to close at that point, brethren. Thank you. God bless you.